Gentlemen, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Not for long. Just a breath. I want you to think about the last time you were truly, completely, 100% present in what you were doing. Not halfway. Not with one eye on your phone. Not with your mind running through your to-do list while your hands were somewhere else. I mean fully there, fully alive in the moment. Can you remember it? For most of us, it takes a while. And that delay, that pause before the memory arrives, that is the problem I came here to talk to you about today. We are living in the most connected era in human history. We have more tools, more technology, more access to information than any generation that ever walked this earth. And yet, and I need you to hear me on this, we have never been more distracted, never more scattered, never more absent from our own lives. We sit at dinner, but we're somewhere else. We're in meetings, but we're everywhere except the room. We're raising our children, building our businesses, chasing our dreams, and we're doing it all on autopilot, divided, diluted, and drained. And we call that living. I'm here today to tell you that is not living. That is surviving on the surface of your own potential. There is an ancient Japanese concept, quietly powerful, devastatingly simple, that has the ability to transform the way you work, the way you lead, the way you love, and the way you show up in this world. It is called Ichigyo-Zammai. Say it with me if you will. Ichigyo-Zammai. It translates in its purest form to this: one act, one full devotion. Do one thing, and do it with everything you have. That's it. No tricks, no hacks, no 15-step productivity system that you'll abandon by Thursday. Just one act, one devotion. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're sitting there saying, that sounds simple. And you are right. It is simple. But simple is not the same as easy. Because here is what this ancient principle is really asking of you. It is asking you to resist the noise. It is asking you to choose depth over distraction. It is asking you to reclaim the most valuable, non-renewable resource you will ever possess. And gentlemen, I am not talking about money. I am not talking about time in the way we usually mean it. I am talking about your attention, your full, focused, fierce attention. Because wherever your attention goes, your life follows. The samurai understood this. The Zen masters understood this. And if you walk with me through this next hour, I promise you, you will understand this too. Not just in your mind, but in your bones, in your work, in your relationships, in the quiet moments when it really counts. This is not a philosophy lesson. This is a call back to yourself, a call back to mastery, a call to stop skimming the surface of your days and start diving deep into the life you were built to live. Welcome, gentlemen, to the art of Ichigyo-Zammai. We live in a world that has declared war on your attention. And most of us don't even realize we're in the middle of a battlefield. Think about how you started your morning today. Before your feet even touched the floor, how many of you reached for your phone? How many notifications were waiting for you? Emails, messages, headlines, alerts, all of them screaming for a piece of you before you even had a chance to take your first conscious breath of the day. That is not an accident. That is by design. Entire industries, billion-dollar companies, armies of engineers and psychologists are working around the clock, not to make your life better, but to capture your attention and keep it hostage for as long as possible. And it is costing you more than you know. Distraction is not just an inconvenience. It is not just a bad habit you can shake off with a little willpower. Distraction is a thief, a silent, sophisticated, well-dressed thief that walks into your life every single day and steals from you the things that matter most. It steals your productivity. Yes, but more than that, it steals your depth. It steals your creativity. It steals the quality of your relationships. It steals the moments you will never get back, the conversation you half listened to, the idea that almost came to you but got interrupted, the work you did that was good, but could have been great if only you had been fully present. Research tells us that it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain focus after a single distraction. 23 minutes. Now multiply that by every ping, every notification, every moment your mind wandered to something unrelated. And ask yourself honestly, how much of your day are you actually working? How much of your day are you actually living? The numbers are sobering. Studies suggest that knowledge workers are truly focused for less than 3 hours in a standard workday. 3 hours. And we wonder why we go home exhausted but feel like we accomplished nothing. That exhaustion is not the exhaustion of deep work. That is the exhaustion of constant mental switching, of trying to serve too many masters at once, of fragmenting yourself across dozens of demands and giving none of them, not one, the full power of who you are. And here is what makes this even more dangerous. We have begun to wear our busyness like a badge of honor. We glorify the man who juggles 20 things at once. We celebrate the overloaded calendar. We mistake motion for progress and noise for achievement. But busyness without focus is just. Now that we understand the cost, the staggering, silent cost of living a distracted life, I want to introduce you to something that has been quietly sitting in the wisdom of the East for centuries, waiting for a world exactly like ours to rediscover it. The Japanese have always had a remarkable gift for distilling profound truth into simple, elegant form. From the art of the tea ceremony to the discipline of the samurai, from the precision of their craftsmanship to the stillness of their gardens, there runs through Japanese culture a single golden thread. And that thread is this: the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Give yourself completely to what is in front of you, or do not give yourself at all. Ichigyo-Zammai is the formal expression of that thread. The word itself comes from the Zen Buddhist tradition. Ichigyo means one act or one line. Zammai, derived from the Sanskrit word samadhi, means a state of complete absorption, total immersion, full meditative presence. Put them together and you have something that is far more than a productivity tip. You have a philosophy of living, a declaration that every single act, no matter how large, no matter how small, deserves the totality of your being. A Zen monk washing his bowl is not thinking about the next meal. A master calligrapher drawing a single brushstroke is not worried about the stroke that comes after. A craftsman shaping wood is not mentally somewhere else while his hands do the work. They are there, completely, unapologetically, powerfully there. And it is precisely that quality of presence that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Not talent, not resources, not even time. What Ichigyo-Zammai is really telling us is something that cuts against everything modern culture preaches. It is telling us that less is more. That one thing done with full devotion will always, always outperform 10 things done with divided attention. It is telling us that the path to excellence is not wider. It is deeper. You do not need to do more. You need to bring more of yourself to what you are already doing. And here is what makes this principle so revolutionary in the age we are living in. Everyone around you is spreading themselves thin. Everyone around you is half present, half committed, half alive to the moment. Which means that the man who masters Ichigyo-Zammai, the man who learns to show up fully, does not just stand out, he stands in a category. We have been sold a lie, a very convincing, very comfortable, very expensive lie. And the frightening thing is, we bought it willingly. We repeated it to our colleagues. We built our schedules around it. We even boasted about it at dinner tables and in boardrooms as though it were a superpower. That lie has a name, and its name is multitasking. For decades, we have been told that the ability to do multiple things simultaneously is the mark of a sharp mind and a high performer. We hired for it. We trained for it. We promoted the people who seemed best at it. Mothers were celebrated for it. Executives were admired for it. And somewhere along the way, we convinced ourselves that a divided mind was a productive mind, that more inputs meant more outputs, that cognitive chaos was somehow the engine of achievement. But science, cold, unforgiving, humbling science, has been telling us a very different story. Neuroscientists have confirmed what the Zen masters knew intuitively thousands of years ago. The human brain does not actually multitask. What it does, what it has always been doing when we think we are multitasking, is task switching, rapidly, repeatedly, exhaustingly shifting its attention from one thing to another and back again. And every single switch comes at a cost. Cognitive scientists call it the switching cost. The mental toll paid each time your brain has to disengage from one task and re-engage with another. It burns glucose. It increases cortisol. It fragments your thinking. It reduces the quality of every single output across every single task you are attempting to juggle. In other words, when you multitask, you are not doing two things well. You are doing two things badly, and you are exhausting yourself in the process. A landmark study out of Stanford University found that heavy multitaskers, the people who pride themselves on handling many streams of information at once, actually performed worse than light multitaskers on every measure of cognitive performance tested. Memory, focus, the ability to filter irrelevant information. All of it diminished. The very habit they believed was sharpening them was quietly making them duller. And yet the illusion persists. Because multitasking feels productive. The busyness feels like momentum. The noise feels like progress. We confuse activity with accomplishment and stimulation with success. We finish a day of constant switching and wonder why we feel depleted but dissatisfied. Exhausted in body, but empty in achievement. Ichigyo-Zammai does not negotiate with this illusion. It does not try to manage your distractions or organize your chaos into neater piles. It cuts through all of it with the clean precision of a master's blade and says, one thing, one moment. There is a moment, and I believe every man in this room has experienced it at least once in his life, where time seems to disappear, where the noise of the world falls away, where your hands know exactly what to do, your mind is clear and electric, and everything you are is poured into a single point of focus. Athletes call it being in the zone. Psychologists call it flow. The Zen tradition has called it samadhi. But whatever name you give it, you know exactly what I am talking about, because when it happens, it feels like the truest, most alive version of yourself has finally shown up. That state is not an accident. It is not luck. It is not reserved for elite performers or spiritual masters on mountaintops. That state is what happens when a human being brings their full presence to a single act. And that, right there, is the beating heart of Ichigyo-Zammai. Full presence is not a soft concept. It is not a wellness buzzword or a motivational abstraction. Full presence is raw, concentrated power. It is the difference between a flashlight and a laser. Both use light, but one illuminates a room in a general, scattered way, and the other can cut through steel. Your attention works exactly the same way. Scattered across a dozen demands, it brightens nothing deeply. But focused, truly completely focused, it becomes capable of extraordinary things. Consider the craftsmen of old Japan. The sword makers of feudal Japan, the Tosho, were not simply manufacturing weapons. They were performing a sacred act of complete devotion. Every fold of the steel, every degree of temperature, every hammer strike demanded their entire being. Not 90%, not their best effort between interruptions, everything. And the result was not just a sword. It was a masterpiece that has outlasted centuries. That is what full presence produces. Not just better work, but work that carries the unmistakable signature of a soul fully invested. When you bring complete presence to your relationships, something shifts. The person across from you feels it. Your child feels it when you put the phone down and truly see them. Your partner feels it when you listen not to respond but to understand. Your colleague feels it when you give their idea your genuine, undivided consideration. Full presence is one of the rarest gifts one human being can offer another in this distracted age, and it costs nothing but the decision to show up completely. And here is the truth that most men in pursuit of success overlook entirely. Fulfillment does not come from how much you accomplish. It comes from how fully you were present while accomplishing it. A life reviewed at its end is not measured in the number of tasks completed, but in the depth of the moments. Everything we have walked through today has been building to this moment. The cost of distraction, the wisdom of Ichigyo-Zammai, the illusion of multitasking, the transformative power of full presence. All of it, every word, every truth, every revelation, means absolutely nothing if it stays in this room. If it stays in your head as a beautiful idea that you nod at, appreciate, and then leave behind when you walk out that door and pick your phone back up before you even reach the parking lot. And that is the uncomfortable truth I need to leave with you today. Knowledge without action is just entertainment, and I have not come here to disturb you just enough that you cannot go back to the way things were, to disturb the part of you that already knows, has always known, that you are capable of so much more than the fragmented, distracted, surface-level version of yourself that you have been settling for. Ichigyo-Zammai is not something you admire from a distance. It is something you practice every single day, in the small moments and the significant ones. It begins the moment you wake up and make a decision, a conscious, deliberate, non-negotiable decision, that today you will bring your whole self to what matters most. Not perfect focus, not robotic discipline, but intentional presence. The warrior's commitment to showing up fully, one act at a time. Start where you are, not next Monday, not when things calm down. Because, gentlemen, things will never calm down on their own. The world will not reduce its noise out of courtesy to your growth. You have to choose the quiet. You have to build the discipline the way a craftsman builds anything worth having. Slowly, deliberately, one focused act at a time. Put the phone away during dinner. Close the unnecessary tabs. Have the one conversation that deserves your complete attention instead of 10 conversations that get none of it. Work on one thing until it is done before you reach for the next. These are not small acts. These are declarations. Every time you choose focus over fragmentation, you are declaring that your attention has value. Every time you bring your full presence to a moment, you are declaring that your life is worth showing up for completely. Every time you practice Ichigyo-Zammai, you are not just becoming more productive, you are becoming more powerful, more purposeful, more deeply and authentically yourself. The samurai did not become masters by doing everything. They became masters by doing one thing. One movement, one breath, one strike, with such complete and total devotion that excellence had no choice but to.